Oh, hello there. Yes, it's the weekend. It's going to be a warm one. Should be rather nice. Yes. In my tradition of zagging when other people zig, I thought today I wouldn't mention resignations. Yes. Instead, having been fairly intrigued by the notion of the Telegraph's owners having it taken away from them. I think that makes two owners in a row who basically haven't paid any tax, which is an interesting moral position, perhaps, from the owners of the Daily Telegraph. But leaving that aside, I thought we'd look at an article from today's Telegraph. I've actually taken out a free subscription, which will bump up the share price, I hope, and somebody can pay a great deal of money for it. Anyway, leaving that aside, I thought we'd look at this particular article about instances of how the dreaded wokists have affected Telegraph readers, and it's a definite tale of woe. Let's dive in, shall we? Let's have a look. Yes, well, first up, thanks to Anthony Mooney, who's in Hounslow, who despairs, apparently, at his council putting colours on a crossing. And apparently, he just appeared overnight, as he says. Looking at the photograph, I'm guessing that there was already a crossing there. So what he means is it got painted overnight. And he goes on to complain bitterly about the fact that it appeared. And no one was asked about it. I think that Anthony doesn't quite understand the way that local democracy works. So my suggestion for him, for his crossing angst, is to not vote for the people that would have brought it in. There you go, that should sort that one out. Next up, we have the dreaded story from Bromley, which is where I used to live, and God, Bromley. Anyway, yes, it's where the soul goes to die. And apparently, on the hospital, there's another pride flag. And Teresa Steele says it's not inclusive because it doesn't include her. Now, I'm guessing that what Mrs. Steele thinks about isn't inclusive is because she doesn't know about the colours on the flag. Because let's assume that Mrs. Steele is heterosexual. That's the blue one. The purple is bi, the blue is straight. So it might help if Ms. Steele actually knew something, wouldn't it? But and then she can be inclusive. Intriguingly, she says that the Newtonian rainbow used to represent everybody. Personally, I can't remember that. Anyway, there's a woman, there's a man, sorry, Simon Jenkins, saying that his wife went and found some tampons in a toilet. He found tampons in a toilet, and he was a bit confused about that. He obviously has never heard that there are trans people. Simon, I would imagine, reads the Daily Telegraph and probably has heard of them, but apparently he was shocked. There you go. Dreadful, shocking people. We've got Corman S., whoever S is, it's quite a cool surname, who's a student and feels that whenever they argue with people that don't agree with him, he gets into an argument recently about toilets. And she's been forced into gender-neutral bathrooms. I don't know. I don't think anyone can be forced into gender-neutral bathrooms. I'd be intrigued about that. I'll have to look up the Queen Mary University of London. I'm going to, in fact. Right, okay. Meanwhile, Alistair Tevez at his university has been objecting to people being brought in to speak about things. You often hear this whole thing about university, where you're supposed to be shown new ideas, which you can then either take on board or not. But it appears that Alistair is in the not camp. Yes, I'm always intrigued by that. This idea that we have to listen to other people's views, but then people complain bitterly when they have to listen to other people's views. Next up, we have Matthew S. It's a very common surname, that one, isn't it? Anyway, he's apparently refused to use pronouns, which is an intriguing thing. I don't know how you can possibly get through your life without using pronouns, but he's managed it. The next one is the one that I'm calling BS on. A girl at our school has decided she identifies as a cat. A teacher who wishes to remain anonymous, yes. We often hear about cat litter boxes and things like that. It's always a lie. Anyway, moving on from that, there's a woman whose daughter has come out as non-binary, and apparently it's everyone else's fault but the parents. According to the Daily Telegraph standard view of parenting, she's merely a bad parent. Sorry to be brutal, but that's the Daily Telegraph for you. If they have come out, perhaps it is because, they're non-binary. After all, think about Margaret Thatcher. She banned teachers from saying anything about gay people back in the 90s, basically, and it didn't stop people being gay. Perhaps your daughter is non-binary. Somebody, who is it? Robert Sees. Yes, transgender theory has been discussed in the daughter's ethics class, and as we all know, if you hear about anything in an ethics class, like murder, you're very likely as a child to do it, said nobody ever. My children are being taught non-binary verb conjugations in French class. Okay, that'll come in handy in France. My sister was turned down for a job with the explanation that her experience did not give her sufficient appreciation of diversity or white privilege. Yes, the whole thing about diversity and other such concepts are that basically is part of the law these days. So I'm just going to guess, reader Stephen Cass, that there was a bigger issue at play there. Otherwise, she would have a case for taking them to court. Presumably, if she didn't take them to court, reader Stephen Cass, then I'm guessing that she might have kind of completely flobbered that question. If I, as a teacher, had suggested that in order to safeguard children, if they told me that they were being fiddled with, that I would just ignore them, I'd fail on that question. I wouldn't brutally suggest that the question and the stance of the school was wrong because, it's legal stuff. I pointed out when I resigned I could see the staff were about to be told what their politics should be, and this is Tim Williams, who basically doesn't like the concept of companies having, things like unconscious bias training, which is fine, then don't work there. I don't know, with a lot of this stuff, you have to say to yourself, right, okay, so these are the picks that the Daily Telegraph has come out with about how people are being dreadfully affected by wokeism. So we've got people that don't like flags they don't understand. We've got people that don't really sort of get their head around or why it might be inclusive to discuss things like pronouns. We've got people that don't like the idea of speakers coming in and talking about things like BLM, and we've got a woman whose daughter has come out as something she doesn't want. It's not really an astounding list, is it? Because, personally, as a member of the left, I think we've really let the side down here. I would hope that at least somebody would be suggesting imminent genocide of the white race and straight people, but it appears that we on the left have got a long way to go. So, there you have it. A tale of woe. Anyway, I did look up, whilst compiling this, I did look up gender-neutral toilets at the university, and they do have some, but they have female toilets as well, so people aren't being forced. They might be having to walk slightly further than they want, but that's, again, a bit of a first world problem, isn't it, eh? Isn't it dreadful that my life, I have to fit around other people in my life? Yeah, good old libertarians. Anyway, having taken out a Daily Telegraph subscription, I'm going to thoroughly enjoy reading the paper from now on. Yes, unfortunately you can expect more of these. We'll wait and see. Anyway, have a lovely day. We'll try and keep away from resignation speeches, I think, today.